Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. If you don't know me, my name is Sarah and I'd like to welcome you to day 12 of the Crochet Christmas challenge. It's pretty crazy that we're already on day 12. It's the last day, so I really hope you enjoyed all the tutorials before this, and I hope you enjoy this one too. If you don't know what the Crochet Christmas challenge is, you can just look into the description where I've explained it all in detail, because nobody likes long-winded intros. For day 12, we will be crocheting some sea slugs. For reference, this is what the mini one looks like. Super cute, perfect stocking stuffers, or for gifting if you make the bigger piece. For today's pattern, I will be working in a size 6 plushie yarn. Use the last bit of my white today and a little bit of purple for that outside ring. You'll need a corresponding crochet hook. I'm using a 6mm with size 6 yarn. A good rule of thumb is whatever size yarn you're using, use the same size crochet hook. For example, size 6 yarn, 6mm crochet hook. And you can tweak it from there depending on your tension. Now you'll need a pair of scissors, a sewing needle, and a stitch marker. You will also need some stuffing right here. And that's about it. So we're just going to get right into the tutorial. We're going to start with our body color, and this can be whatever color you'd like to use. And you're going to either use your chain 2 method or make a magic ring. I'll be using the chain 2 method, so I'll create a slip knot, chain 2. In that first round, either in your magic ring or your chain 2, we will single crochet 6. And 6. Close up your magic ring or your chain 2. I like to leave this till the next round when working with plushie yarn, because it's easier to close up. For round 2, we will begin by increasing in that first stitch and then single crocheting into the next stitch. Now we're going to work on our first antenna. We will do this by chaining 5. Skip that first chain and slip stitch in the next 4 chains. There you have your first antenna complete. In the next stitch we will increase, and I like to close up this gap by picking up that front loop and inserting my hook into the next stitch, and then single crocheting as regular, like so. This will prevent a gap from forming between the antennas. Now in that same stitch you will increase, and now we will create our second antenna where we will chain 5. We will skip that first chain and slip stitch 4. And 4. There we are. Using our trick, we will just single crochet in the next stitch. Just like so. Now we will increase and then single crochet one more time. And that's the end of round 2. Now at this point, you can finish closing your center tail if you haven't done it already. And I will also take this time to secure this tail so we don't have to do it later. I highly recommend doing this no matter what method you end up using. This will help the doll last a lot longer through wear and tear. Your magic ring or your chain 2, they will always come loose with time. This creates a knot on the back end that is really hard to get rid of. So just create arches with your needle and pull the tail through. And I like to do this 2 or 3 times, depending on how tight I get it the first time. Now set your stitch marker at the end of this round. And now for the next 8 rounds, we will single crochet in each stitch around. For this first round, we'll just be crocheting around the antenna. making sure that the antennas are sticking out the front. Before moving on to any of the next rounds, just ensure that you have 9 stitches on this round before moving on. That was round 1. Now repeat this 7 more times, single crocheting all the way around. Once you have finished all your single crochet rounds, you can double count them by counting from between the antennas here all the way up. So this is the first single crochet, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth right here. And then of course lined up with your very first stitch, very last stitch of the round. Now at this point we will decrease once and then single crochet, and we'll repeat that 3 times all the way around. If you're working with a smaller yarn, you can stuff before you finish this round. I will be stuffing now. Do not fasten off yet though, we still have 1 more round to go. I am mostly stuffed, leaving the tail just a little bit unstuffed. We'll stuff it after this round. So now just single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 6 single crochets. And 6. Now slip stitch, chain 1, and fasten off. You don't need too long of a tail for this next step because we'll just be tucking it in. Now taking any, if you need to stuff it anymore, now is the time to do it because now we will be closing it right afterward. Just give it a bit of a massage, see if it needs any more stuffing. There we are. Now at this point we will thread our needle and close up this hole. We do this by collecting all the front loops and pulling it tight. Now secure this tail by creating an archway and slipping the tail under it. That'll create a knot, and then tuck this tail in to your piece. And just weave the tail in. I like to weave it in 3 times to make it extra secure. we are. Cut that tail, we won't be needing it any longer, and tuck in the fluffies. Now at this point we have our body. Now we just have to put our color on if you're using color like this. So using your secondary color, we will, let's pull the label off, we will find our beginning of the yarn. You don't need too much yarn for this step, so keep that in mind. We're going to create a slip knot onto our hook with the tail long enough to tuck in later. I like to leave this a little bit longer rather than shorter, makes it easier. Now with the antennas facing up and starting at the tail end, we will single crochet along. Now you want your single crochet to be flat with the bottom and leaving a hump on the top, so keep that in mind when you're working. In each stitch that we work into, we will be putting 3 single crochets in, just like so, and then going a little bit lower, single crochet 3 in the next stitch. Now each of your slugs is going to turn out a little bit different, which is of course what makes a pattern unique, and you can do a bit of experimenting on where you end up putting your ring. That's just what I'm going to call it for this tutorial because I don't actually know what it's called. You can go up and down to create more of a wave effect, or you can go straight across to get more of a straight look. I personally like to go up and down. This gives it a wavy look, more so than just single crocheting 3. Just make sure that you're crocheting into each of the stitches, you're not skipping any stitches. Now you can double check every once in a while to make sure that you're on the right track and that it's the way you want it to look. Otherwise you can just tear out the stitches and try again. That's what I had to do on several of the slugs, because sometimes I crocheted a little too high and it wasn't exactly the way I wanted it to look. This part is really up to you on how you want it to look, so you can tear it out if you want or keep going. Once you get around to the front, just single crochet 3 as same with every other stitch. On this turn is where I usually make a mistake, so make sure that you're crocheting low enough so that it's even on both sides. Now this can get a little bit tight at times, but just keep going. You can also modify it just a little bit, add less single crochets if the yarn you're working with is a little bit tougher. Here we have one side complete. We started on the front and now we're working on the other side. Once you come all the way back around, we will just slip stitch to finish that loop, leaving a length of yarn. Now, you're working with your top, the one we just fastened off, thread your needle with that tail, and we will work into the next stitch, create a V, and then go through our previous stitch. And now take this tail down closer to the bottom. And now we will tie these two tails together. And now we will weave in these ends. Now we will tuck this tail in. Just weave it in through the piece 2 to 3 times to secure these tails. Cut these tails, tuck in those fluffies, and there you have your very own sea slug. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I certainly enjoyed making this slug. I was honestly incredibly torn on what to do for day 12, but then out of nowhere I was like, let's just crochet a slug. And honestly, these guys are super cute, so they're definitely worth it. I know some people have the heebie-jeebies about bugs, but they're sea slugs, so they're not quite the same, I guess. Let me know down in the comments below if you crocheted these sea slugs, and let me know what materials you used, what colors you used. I'd love to know. It's awesome hearing that you guys make my things, make my patterns, and actually enjoy the tutorials. So thank you very much. If you were here for the Christmas challenge, congratulations, you just completed it. Today was day 12, and that's it. That's all the patterns. If you completed it and have an Instagram account, make sure to tag me at Loops and Knots Crochet so that I can see your completed set. I would absolutely love to see what you made, what colors you used. If not, if you don't have an Instagram account, just leave a comment letting me know if you completed the Christmas challenge. And I think that's about it. I really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial and this entire challenge. I certainly did. It's been a labor of love, but this has definitely been worth it to see everyone who's crocheting my patterns, and yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye!